And so I came across this scripture, and I thought it was so cool. And why it had never dawned on me before, I don't know. But it hadn't. Let me read it to you. It's in Zephaniah, of all things. Chapter 3, verse 17, it says, "The Lord your God is with you. He's mighty to save. He will take great delight in you. He will quiet you with his love. He will rejoice over you with singing." Oh my goodness, God sings. God's a singer. Who would have thought? A singer. That just came all over me, and then I thought, oh, I've got to find some more things. I began to look at them. Do you know that the Bible mentions singing over 400 times? And it has a direct command to sing 50 times. Now, I teach children in Sunday school, and I tell them that anytime you find the same story mentioned in more than one book, it's because it's important. Or if you find the same idea, to use it, it means to help it to grow. You see, your voice is just a muscle, like any other muscle in your body. And when you use it right, when you use any muscle right, what's it going to do?
Strengthens it.
It's going to strengthen. It's going to get better. It's going to get more powerful. So it's our responsibility. You did nothing in order to get this gift, basically, any more than you could make yourself grow taller, right? It was given to you. I know, we've all done it.
If someone figures
But
that out,
it was given to you. It's a gift. So it's our responsibility to make it as much and as good as it can be. So how do we do that? Well, we're going to do that tonight. We're going to start at the beginning. And to me, the beginning is posture. How do we stand? How do we sit when we sing? It's not the same way you're sitting now, but you're not singing, so that's okay, all right? When you sing, you want to stand tall. Now, I tell my students at the college, I say, I want you to stand tall when you sing. I want you to have a singing posture, and they do this. It's more than that. It's more than that. You've got to get your chest up. Now, I do have some kids, we're across the street from Tinker, so I have some military kids. And boy, they give me this. You know, not quite that much. I don't want that much. You know, fingers tucked under and the whole bit. We don't want that much. But your chest needs to be up. Okay? So chest up, shoulders, I tell my kids, go ahead and roll them up, down, and back. When you get in the farthest down and back position, your chest is up and your shoulders are back. This makes this rib cage come up. Well, what do you do with your feet? Your feet should be about hips distance apart. Oftentimes we tell people to stand tall and they give it this, feet together. Well, you're not quite as stable. When you're breathing and you're holding notes, you need a little bit of stability so that you don't begin to waver and lose your balance and need to hold on to something. So separate your feet just a little bit, hips distance, okay? Then you've got some stability to your stance. When you are singing, I've seen this so many times, you want your head slightly down, okay? Slightly down. It's as if you're a marionette or a puppet on a string. The string, because it would go down through the backbone, up through the head, and if it's pulled by the person doing the puppet, what's the head going to do? It's going to fall into position, isn't it? If the string were here, then yes, you would be looking like this. But when you've got your chin up, then you're out of position. So you think about this string being right here at the back of the head, or at the crown, what we call the crown. I have a flat, do y'all have a flat spot? I have kind of a flat spot there at the crown of my head. That's where the string comes out. Maybe everybody, I don't know.
I have a flat back.
Sure.
I've never gone around and checked I've never gone around and checked people's heads, but I have a flat spot. But that's where the string would come out. And then your head just tips into a natural position. When we stand straight, make sure you bring your head back down to where it belongs. Okay? Then you're in that natural position. Okay, when you're in choir and in rehearsal, do you get to sit? Do they get to sit?
Oh, they do.
Okay. How are you going to sit? We've talked about how you're going to stand. When Ron does this, that's your cue. You sit up. Your back should not touch the back of your chair. And that means that your bottom has to be toward the front. Regardless of how big your bottom is. It still has to be toward the front of your chair. So that you are sitting in a standing position. Does that make sense? Everything that's not touching the chair should be in a standing position. Okay? And then you hold your music to where you can see it and you can see your director at the same time. Your chest should remain up. We're going to get to breathing next, but the rib cage has to be up, okay? The chest has to be up. Yes, you will get tired at first. You will, until you build up your back muscles and these muscles here, you will get tired. That's okay. Being in choir is a workout. You're using muscle, and not just your voice muscle. You're using lots of other muscles, and that's okay. That's good. That's good. Let's talk a little bit about breathing. First, anybody have any questions or comments? Okay. One thing I didn't say is you don't cross your legs when you're sitting in choir and to sing. Okay. Feet should be. Did I say feet flat on the floor? We don't cross our legs. Okay?
If they reach. We had that
Yeah,
discussion
right.
last week.
If they reach. If they touch, let them down.
More reason to scoot forward.
Farther forward. That's right. One thing I didn't talk about that I want to be sure and talk about because I see it a lot too. Those of you that either sing solos or sing with the praise band, the praise team, and you're holding a microphone. The first thing we want to do when we're holding a microphone is kind of cuddle up with it. We just want to, okay? And we round our shoulders and we get that microphone right up here because we see it all the time on TV. And they do this. And they round those shoulders and they stick that tummy out and they're just going after it, right? That's not a good singing position, is it? So even though you're holding a microphone, you keep your shoulders back, your chest up, and the microphone here, not here, because Mama wants to see your pretty face. So does everybody else sitting out there. They want to see your face. They don't want to see the end of the microphone. Okay? So it's here. That's just one of my pet peeves I thought I would add. We talked about the sitting position. So let's talk about how we're going to breathe. I know you've probably heard all of your lives about breathing from your diaphragm. Easier said than done, isn't it? And where the heck is the diaphragm?
At the bottom of your lungs.
It is. It is. It actually lies across like this. For years and years I thought it was like this because this was the part that I used, that it laid flat here. But it doesn't. It cuts you in two, basically, underneath your rib cage. Okay? When you're singing, it's actually kind of elevated like this, kind of a dome shape. When you take a breath, it flattens out because it's kind of connected to things. And so when you get a good breath, it flattens out. Okay, let's talk about that just a little bit. When you get a breath, you want it to be down here. If you've ever watched a baby breathe, they're not moving their shoulders. Children, somewhere along the way, think to get a big breath, we've got to go like this. And we continue that. We continue that. We incorporate it into our singing. Oh, that's so much work. So much work. All of your breathing should come from down here. It's like you have a balloon inside of you with the part that gets the air, the open end part, here. So that when you take air in, what is the balloon going to do?
Expands.
Is it going to expand just in one spot? We hope not, right? It expands all the way around, right? And so will you. These muscles here in the back, we're going to do some exercises here in a little bit, and you will feel them. Not that kind of exercise, but vocalizing exercise. And you will feel these muscles in your back. You'll feel these muscles right here when you use them correctly. And yeah, they will get tired. That's okay. That's okay. So I would like for everybody to put your hands under your last rib.
Let's see if I can find it.
I know.
Sure, it's in there.
I think it's there somewhere.
Okay, underneath your last rib with your fingers coming toward the middle. Now, when you take a breath, what do your hands do? Take a breath with your mouth open. Ready? Don't raise your shoulders. Sit with your chest up. Keep your shoulders still. Ready? What do your fingers in your hands do? Point your fingers toward the front. Like this. What do they do? Bring your fingers closer in the front. They go out, don't they? And that's what your muscles do all the way around. That's filling that balloon. That's filling your diaphragm with air. You're not really filling your diaphragm, but that's what we say. Then when we attack the note, what do? You get a good breath. Then what?
Push it out.
You're going to, you actually pull it back in. You push it out when you take a breath, and this tightens. I tell my boys, it's like if somebody was coming along and going to hit you right in the stomach, what would you do? They all immediately say, I would tighten up. Well, yeah, you would. It's those same muscles. It's your core muscles. It's the muscles you use when you do sit-ups. You tighten this. That's called support. Okay? So, put your hands back here. Take a breath. Blow it out. Don't let your chest down. You need to put your chest up. Yeah. Hey, you ought to be up here. Take a breath. Blow it out. This should tighten. This shouldn't move. I still see a lot of chest moving. Better. Good. Again. Okay. Now I don't want to make you hyperventilate. But, speaking of that, I'm losing my balance. What I want you to do is think about the balloon. If you fill the balloon with air and you want to just let it down a little bit, you pull that top part out and you squeeze it with your arm just to let it out little bit by little bit. What's happening here? As you squeeze that balloon and you're letting it go.
Your diaphragm's going up.
It's contracting. Your diaphragm is pushing on it, whatever you want to call it. But you're not pushing it all out at once, otherwise it would go, right, and be gone. You're letting a little bit at a time out. And that's what we're going to do with our diaphragm, okay? I want you to take a breath, and when we get our breath, I'm going to count to 8. When I start counting, I want you to go. And I want you to have enough breath for 8 counts. Ready? 1, 2, ready. Breathe. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Did you have air left over? Okay, let's go for 10. Ready? Breathe. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. That's control. Okay? That's support. We call it support when we're singing. We let that air out, but we keep the tension here. It's not here. It's not here ever. Okay? If you feel it here when you sing, it's because you're not using this properly. If you get tired in your throat in choir rehearsal, your voice will get tired, but it's not a pinched tired. It's not a hurting tired. Okay? It's a man. I'm ready to be through singing tired. But if you get that hurting, then you know you need to do some more of this. Okay? I'd like to have one person volunteer to lay on my yoga mat. We're not doing any yoga poses. We're just going to breathe. Okay? One person that would be willing to lay on the yoga mat?
Don't be shy.
Come on. Just get on your back.
On my back.
Mhm.
Facing.
Yeah, well, head down here so they can see. Okay. When he takes a breath, what's the book going to do?
Well,
Take a breath in. Okay? Let me do it this way. Okay, now let it all out.
Sorry, I did already.
Okay, that's all right. Good. Okay, take another breath. Ah, looky there.
Yeah, wow.
See? Now his shoulders didn't move. You can't move your shoulders when you're laying down. All right? This is why we don't know if that baby's breathing. And when you're a new mom, you go in and you check on it, you put your finger under their nose all the time, because they're breathing from here. You breathe from there when you sleep. Okay? We all do. We're not lifting our shoulders and our chest and trying to get air into it. We're breathing just like, you're not holding that breath.
Oh, I was.
I'm
but-
sorry.
I didn't want
I looked at him, his face was kind of red. and I thought, surely not.
I will comply.
Okay, this time, I want you to take a breath and then push it out just like we did up here. Okay? What did the book do?
Went down.
It came immediately down, didn't it? Okay. That's how you want to breathe, and that's how you should practice. When you're at home in the evenings, and you're like, you can get up. I'm doing thank you.
Good job. Good
Didn't you do good? When you're at home in the evenings and you're trying to go to sleep and you're laying in your bed, lay on your back for a little bit and take about 3 deep breaths from here. Put your hand here and take about 3 deep breaths. You know what that will do for you? It will slow your heart rate. And the next thing you know, after that 3rd breath, and if you want to keep doing it, do. It's a good way to practice your breathing, but it'll also make you tired. Okay, it'll also make you sleepy. It'll relax you. Okay? Because it slows your heart rate down just enough to where you can go to sleep. Put your left hand here on your chest and put your right hand right over your belly button. Your thumb is probably going to be right under your sternum. Okay? Take a breath. Which one moved?
My stomach was
Right,
right.
okay. Did your left hand move? It shouldn't move any. Lower it just a little bit to where it's right. Yeah, not at your throat, but right here. Okay, ready? Take another breath. Good. Okay, I was seeing it that time. Good. Yeah. It should. This hand should be the one that moves. This is another way to practice. When you're just sitting at your desk or whatever you're doing and you want to practice your breathing, because it no longer comes naturally to us unless we're asleep. Okay? And that's a good way to practice. And then you will be able to put it into your singing. I heard a phrase just this week that you want to sing in the posture of your inhalation. What does that mean? Sing in the posture of your inhalation. When you inhale, if you're doing it correctly, your rib cage will be up and out. And then if you sing from there, the only thing that can move is this right here. So that's where you're going to get all of your strength, is right here. Okay, when you tighten that and you get your air here, then you're going to have that voice when you need it. Okay, you're going to have the strength. You're going to be able to make it through the phrase. Okay, there's one more I want to show you, just to practice. And this one is one you can do and nobody will really know what you're doing. If you sit in a chair and you rest your forearms on your thighs and just let your head kind of relax, shoulders should be down, take a breath. Where do you feel it as you inhale? Where do you feel that air?
In your abdomen.
And you feel it against your thighs too, don't you? Just a little bit. Okay, that tells you you're breathing right. This is another way to practice, because if you've got your forearms on your thighs, you can't lift your shoulders. You can't lift your chest. Take another breath. And let it out. Okay, good. All right. We're going to do some exercises that I want you to do with me, and we're going to work some of these muscles. As we do these exercises, I want you to keep your chest up, okay, shoulders down and back, all right, and I want you to stand. Okay. Now, I know we're all different vocal parts, and so what I'm going to do is I'm going to start as low. All right, and feel free to drop out. This will be your note. Okay. Feel free to drop out if it gets too high or if it gets too low. I want you to sing Now, right here. And we'll change to shock in a minute. It's not here at all. Give me a little bit of an H before each one. Let me bring it up a little bit. All right here. Okay, we're not going to start that. I have to get up high enough so y'all can hear me. If I'm down too far, you'll go around. Okay, ready? All, put a little H in front of it. That's all with your diaphragm. You will be tired. Ready? Here we go. And remind me, I want to go back and hit something else in just a minute. Your mouth should be open in the front, yes, but also in the back, okay? Let me show you a picture that I brought. It's like this. The little hanging down thing, you know, all those muscles on the side of the epiglottis need to be pulled up and back, away from the throat. Oh. It's like the beginning of a yawn. In fact, when my students first start taking piano or taking voice with me, the next thing I know, they're yawning. And I go, oh, they're getting it. And they will just apologize. I'm so sorry, Miss Richardson, I just can't quit yawning. That's okay. Because I know you're doing it right. It's also the beginning of a gag.
I say it all the time.
Not taken quite that far, okay? But it's the beginning of a yawn. Your tongue should touch the back of your teeth and then lay flat. Not all vowels will it be flat, but for most of them, ah, oh, ooh, they're all flat. Ah, all the way back to the back. Ah. I even tell my kids if you need to, in order to get your tongue to go flat, you need to put a little divot in it, in the tongue, or a little canal back to the back. That's okay. You just don't hump it back to where it's not touching the back of your teeth. The other thing that will help you to know if you are opening your mouth is if you put your fingers right next to your earlobes, not up here where you hear, but next to your earlobes, and then open your mouth. You should feel some space come in between, right there, in between your earlobe and your jaw. Are you feeling it? Then you know you're getting the back of the throat open. Uh-huh. And then the other part is pulling those muscles in the back. You're getting your jaw open, excuse me, this way. But then you want to bring the muscles back, away from the back of the throat. Oh. Oh. Okay? You're all looking at me like, I think she's crazy. But that will help you to not have anything blocking the sound as it comes out. Okay, that's a pure ah sound. And as I looked at you all as you were vocalizing, some of you had tiny, tiny mouths. And while I don't want it to be a humongous like this, I do want it open enough that you can get the back of the throat open, the back of the jaw. And you can't get the back of the jaw and the throat open with a small mouth. If you're singing like this, then it's not open. Okay, so you want to really open your mouth a lot. All right, like the big mouth frog. You remember those jokes? Okay, you're my age. Okay, I can say something like that, and the kids go, no, I remember the big mouth frog. Okay, I want to go back and hit something. Along with our breathing, we want to get to where we can carry phrases a little longer, and that will come as you breathe correctly. Remember when you were a kid and you would try to swim across the pool, and you wanted to do it in one breath? And what happened the first time you tried? You didn't get near as far as you were going to get in your mind, because you had to come up and get air. But the more you practiced it, the farther you could get, right? To where one day, you got all the way to the other side of the pool in one breath. And you feel like you've just conquered the world, right? That's what we want to train ourselves to do, to carry the phrase longer and longer. I want you to sing with me. We're going to sing 2 hallelujahs before we take a breath. Okay? What's your singing position if you're sitting down? Ready? Here we go. Hallelujah. 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 Good job on hallelujah. I didn't even have to say anything. Wow. I know. Hallelujah. You had it from the very beginning. Let's talk just a little bit about the health and care of your voice before we run totally out of time. We're coming upon cold and flu season, and y'all can relax for a minute. I'm not going to make you sing again for a little bit, okay? And cold and flu season brings out a whole new problem for your voice, okay? Your voice will be the first thing to tell you, you may be getting sick, because you feel it. You feel it here. It's also the last thing to get better. I mean, you'll be feeling much better and think you're over it, and you still have all this crud, and you can't get your throat clear, and it just hangs on forever, doesn't it? It's the last thing to clear up is your voice. There are some natural things that we can do to keep our voice in as good a working condition as possible, besides just washing our hands as often as possible. That's number one. I like to use a neti pot. Do you know what a neti pot is?
I don't know what an anybody.
Okay, a neti pot, it looks like a really cute little teapot,
Okay.
but you put it in one nostril with warm salt water in it, and it flushes your sinuses out. It all comes out the other side, and then you do the other nostril, and it all comes out the other side. It
In the
keeps
privacy of your own home.
Yes.
Yes, yes. This is not something you want to bring to church and do right before choir. You also, at first, will feel like you're drowning, but you get used to it after a while. And it's a wonderful way to keep the pollen out of your sinuses. It's a wonderful way to get some healing up in your sinuses without medication, okay? I also use a saline nose spray almost all the time, almost every day, just to keep the moisture. The salt water, the saline is very healing to your sinuses, and it also for the throat. If you feel like you just got that, and you don't know what it is, gargle with warm salt water. Take it to work with you. Gargle in the bathroom, warm salt water. As often, I mean, there's no reason why you can't do it every hour if you need to. Do it often. Warm salt water. And I swallow the last little bit that's in my mouth. Okay, so it'll go down over those vocal cords. Okay? The other thing I like to do is drink warm things. All the time. Anytime I'm singing, drink warm things. You certainly don't want to drink anything with ice in it. You don't want to drink any pop before you come to choir. Ever, ever, ever. Not that you can't drink pop. Just not before choir. Okay? Not for about 2 hours before choir. All right? If you're going to bring a drink with you to choir, bring a bottle of water at room temperature. Cold things going across your muscle is like exercising with a cold muscle. I mean, it's just like any other muscle. It's going to be harmful to your voice. So keep warm things. If you drink coffee, that's fine. It's warm, that's good. Don't put cream in it. What does the cream do?
Coats.
Yeah, it coats it. So leave the cream out.
Yeah,
Or
and it
drink
makes it
water
taste
or
awesome.
tea. I personally like tea. I'm not a caffeine drinker. I got off of caffeine, well, it was one of those, it's not a vocal decision with me. It was one of those times that Tim had us fasting. You remember those? For Easter. And I'm not one who does well missing meals. And so I thought, well, what can I fast? Caffeine, I'll fast caffeine. I thought that would be easy. Oh my gosh. I had the worst headache for about 3 days. I thought, well, if it gives me a headache, when I don't drink it, it can't be good for me. So I went off of caffeine. But I drink decaf tea often. If I'm feeling like I'm getting a little something, have a sore throat or just something in my throat, I'll drink hot tea sweetened with lemon with about 5 whole cloves in it. Not the powdered cloves, because that gunks up your throat. But the whole cloves, steep it with the whole cloves in it. The cloves has kind of a deadening effect. An anesthetic, is that?
Anesthetic.
Anesthetic, thank you. Anesthetic effect. It will help the hurting if it's sore already. Now you fish the cloves out before you drink it, but you steep it with the cloves in there. And you can put as many as you want to if you like the taste. Sweeten it with honey because the honey is good for your throat. Okay? These are just some little things that I do. I also run a vaporizer or a humidifier almost all winter long. Almost all winter long, because it keeps the moisture in your sinus cavities and in your throat all the time. Okay? Those are just a few little things that Ron actually mentioned he wanted me to mention, because we are coming upon that time of year. And we want to take care of this muscle that is our voice. Okay? Let's talk just a little bit about vowels. I touched on the shape of the mouth and the throat, but the vowels, how we say our words while we've got that mouth opened all the way back to the back is so very important. And there's not just a whole bunch of them, but there's enough that we need to talk about it, okay? Ah, ah, as in father, father, ah. E, as in beat. We keep our corners in, E. It's not ever E when we sing. It's that way when we talk often, but when we sing, it's E. We want to keep our corners in and our mouth up and down open. Ooh, as in moon. Ooh. It's round. Your mouth is open and you bring your lips around it. Your mouth is really almost open for an ah. Ooh, ooh. Your jaw can't be touched. It's not moving. A, as in sang, a long A, as in sang. A. A. Your tongue does come forward a little bit on the A. A. Eh, as in yet. Eh. As in Okay, those are the vowels that we have to work on, and this is how we want to say them, with a big round vowel. It's almost, of course you have to remember who you're talking to. I tell my kids to sing like the Count on Sesame Street. The Count speaks like this, doesn't he? And they go, oh, I know who the Count is. And, you know, you got to get on the level at some point. So Sesame Street, they all hit Sesame Street growing up. I want us to look at a song that we all know, and I was hoping this would be big enough, but it may not be. What is this song? Amazing Grace. This is the way we should sing it. Okay? It's Amazing Grace. How? You connect the end of one word to the beginning of the next. All right? Does that make sense? So it's Amazing Grace. How sweet the, right? Sweet the sound. The sound. I lost sound. Does that make sense? I once was lost, but now am found. Was blind, but now I see. How does that work in a choir situation? Suppose you need a breath, but he hasn't given you that cutoff for a breath. What are you going to do when you're in the middle of Amazing Grace? You sneak a breath, but what do you do with your consonant?
Don't shut it off.
Don't shut it off. Amazing Grace, how sweet the sound. You see? Otherwise, he's got all over the place.
Preach
They
it.
don't want to know. They don't want to know when you take a breath. Right? So you take a breath, leave your mouth open, and then close it with your consonant. Okay, does that make sense? This is how we want to do our consonants. So, Amazing Grace, how sweet the sound. Let's try Amazing Grace. Open your mouth up and down. Going to sit in your singing position.
Look at you guys and your posture. Amazing grace.
A what? Today. Hey, open your mouth up and down. Ready? Okay, do you see what I'm talking about? Up or down? Okay, but if you're not thinking about it, you go back to what you've always done, right? Amazing grace, how sweet. What's your thought there? What's your thought? Amazing grace, how sweet the sound that saved a wretch like me. Wouldn't it be great if we could go that far? I can't either. But wouldn't it be great? Because that's our thought, right? Amazing grace. How sweet the sound that saved a wretch like me. Oh my goodness. I once was lost, but now I'm found. We love to sing. We love to sing. But who are we singing for? And what's our purpose? It's for that person that's listening. They've got to understand our words. Our words, our notes float on the vowel, right? The consonants are what turn it into words. Otherwise, we're just vocalizing. Right? If they can't understand our words, then we're just singing some lovely notes. Our message is the most important thing. They've got to be able to understand our message, because that's why we're here. That's why God gave you this gift, right? Is for them to understand the message. If we get up here and sing like we talk, like I talk, and I like to talk this way. I'm proud of being from Oklahoma, but I can't sing that way. Because by the time it travels, they're not sure what we said. And if we don't put our K's and our D's and our M's, those soft consonants on, they're going to miss that message. So if our mouths are open up and down, not sideways. Okies want to sing sideways, but it's up and down. They can't understand us. And the most important thing is our message. More than how pretty our voice is, more than how clearly we can hit that high note. I'm a soprano, and I like to hit those high notes. But the message is more important than any high note I can ever hit. God wants me to get that message across. And so to do that, I've got to learn how to speak in my music, with my music. All of these things that we've talked about tonight only will happen with any consistency if you practice it. So we're going to meet again next week if I haven't run you off. We're going to meet again next week. And I would like for each of you to come with a song to sing, just for us. Okay? If you're scared to death to do that, get a buddy, sing a duet, sing a trio. But I want to watch you because you won't know whether you're using the breathing we talked about, whether you're singing with an open mouth and an open throat, unless you do it, unless somebody watches you. That's what voice lessons are all about. So next week, I know you're looking at me like you're panic-stricken.
Pretty much am.
I am. Sing Amazing Grace. Sing Amazing Grace. And let us watch. If you are scared to death and don't want to, I think I know 2 or 3 that would. Right? Right? Okay. Give us an opportunity to help you. Okay? Ron will be here, and we will watch. Because you're not going to know whether you do this or not. You're not going to know if you're keeping your feet planted or if you're doing a little dance while you sing. Nobody wants you doing a little dance while you sing if you're in the choir. Because that just puts your eye on you. You keep your feet planted. Don't sway unless it's choreographed for the whole choir to do. I know. But you would be amazed how much of this stuff we do unconsciously when we sing. We just start enjoying that. And the next thing you know, they're watching me and not anything else. Okay? Bring a song this week, all right? It can be your favorite hymn. It doesn't matter. But let's hear you sing. Let's all enjoy each other next week. It'll be fun. It'll be fun, okay?
We'll all sign a little pact that we won't put the video on YouTube.
Video?
Oh,
no.
Maybe.
Oh, no.
You never
No, they
know.
won't do it.
Phones. I mean, that we won't video each other and put it on
Okay.
YouTube. I won't video you.
Okay. All right, is that a deal for next week? Okay.
There are lots of hymnals here. If you want to just take one and grab one and take it home and pick a hymn, that's fine. Or we can just all sing Amazing Grace. That'd be fine too.
That'd be fine too. But I want to hear you either individually or in duets. Okay? Nobody's saying okay.
Oh yeah, let's do it.
Okay, let's, yeah, let's do it.
They're all thinking, what can I be doing next week?